Facts. Yeah, facts, bro. I get the pussy on my chain wax. My parent gets it.
The pussy on my chain wax.
I put the pussy on the chain wax. Wow, we needed a clip just with me saying that. He'll love it. That's like an old saying we have.
I put the pussy on the chain wax.
It makes no sense, but every so often we just yell, I got the pussy on the chain wax.
Oh my god.
Oh wait, that's from.
I'm gonna have to say that a few times
I
now.
think that no, I had another line because that we stole from Key and Peele, but there's one that we made up.
Yeah.
That's very similar. That just comes out sometimes.
That seems like a very Key and Peele thing to say.
Yeah, it's a funny episode. It's all just like they're all like just dabs, just like what's up, and I'm like oh cool, and then they're all just saying dumb stuff, and one goes like yeah, put the pussy on the chain wax, and everyone just stops. They're like, wait, what did you just say? He's like, nah, man, you know, like put the pussy on the chain wax, and they're like, no. I like it.
Becomes like 4 professors around a table. Like you cannot say that.
Yeah. I feel like
What
they
do you
always
think?
have such great ideas, and then they make it go too far. So then it's better to quote, you know?
Mhm.
Like the actual episodes are okay.
Yeah, like the name one. They did so many the
Oh,
substitute
yeah.
teacher reading out the names. Like that's funny for the first 5, but then I mean they have to keep going because they have to make a show out of it.
That one's okay. Yeah. Have you seen the one where they say, "Oh, I say, bitch." Have you seen that one? So that this one they went too far. I mean, whatever. Maybe people enjoy it, but like, it's just these two guys, or it's so it starts with one of the guys and his wife, and then another guy and his wife, and they come in, they're having like a double dinner date, whatever,
Mhm.
and the two guys are friends, and so the wives go off to the kitchen or whatever and start making food, and then they're talking, and they're like, "Oh, so how's it going?" Blah blah. And it's like, "Oh yeah, like she was pissing me off last night." She's like, "Oh really? Your lady was pissing you off?" Like, "Yeah, she's pissing me off, but like I didn't take it." And he's like, "Oh, you didn't take it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I didn't take it." And he's like, "Guess what I said?" So what'd you say? And he's like, "I said." And they like look around to make sure the girls can't hear. Just like I said, bitch. And he's like, "You said that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I said it." He's like, "You called her that?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." And then just they keep going throughout the house, just farther and farther away. And like, "But you did say, yeah, I said, bitch." I don't know. It's funny. And they end in space, so.
Yeah, that puts the point across.
Then they finally
They
scream
took
it.
And they get caught,
Yeah.
and he gets pulled away by his ear. I remember like after Key and Peele, it was like these strange like skits. There was this one skit one of my friends had showed me, and they did like 2 different versions. One was called Moms,
Uh-huh.
and the other was called Dads.
Uh-huh.
And Moms was the successful one. They
Okay.
basically hired these random actors online to play as their moms. These are like 4 20-something-year-olds,
Okay.
like 25-year-olds basically. And they put together these skits, and they basically gave them the moms. The scenario was they are in an online chat room,
Uh-huh.
and one of the moms found the online chat room and printed everything out, and they're going through it together in a big group, all 8 of them.
Okay.
So it's 4 moms and their kids.
Yeah.
And they start off, and they're basically like saying how one mom is really hot or the
Yeah,
other one's
yeah.
really ugly
Yeah.
and all this shit. And the moms are just going along with it. But then when it starts, like 2 of them, the bold ones,
Uh-huh.
they would just start insulting them, like attacking them. And they would make them cry at certain points.
Wait. Okay, you have to hold on. So who is the actors? The moms.
The moms are the actors.
Okay, and then
There's these 4 25-year-old guys
They're
that are like grilling them as they're trying to go along with the skit that they wrote for them.
What?
They're just butchering them. They're trying to like go through it and play along and like
The moms
make
are?
it good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the kids are just insulting them. Like they're laughing during the entire thing. Like, yeah, you ugly whore. What do you do with that face?
Holy
And they all
shit.
start laughing, and the moms are like, "Wait a minute, you can't say that." Like, that one was so good. They try to do another one with dads, and then it just ends with one of the dads getting really angry and starting to walk over to beat the shit out of one of them, and then they cut it. Like, they got seriously, like, they were starting to fight during it.
Oh, yeah, I can now see this. Wow, that is amazing.
It
Holy
was,
shit.
it was one of the best skits I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then they all make up at the end.
I just hope they got paid a lot for that. To get fucking grilled. And then become a YouTube sensation as you're grilled
Yeah.
on camera. Oh, wow. Yeah, the internet's a crazy place.
These obscure skits are the best. When you just have, like, I guess it's just law of numbers. Like, when you get enough people doing it, you get gems out of it. This is one of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. A lot of luck, too. Some things just catch wind, and for no good reason, everyone just loves it, which makes everyone else love it, and then everybody loves it more.
Sometimes it's also just having a camera there.
Mm-hmm. Just catching the perfect moment.
Think about how many times, like, you're just in your life, and if you just had a camera, and nobody knew there was a camera there recording it.
I asked this question. So, how much money? I asked this when I was working over the summer. How much money would you spend to be able to get a minute of footage from each day? So you get like this minute, you get this camera reel that's always going, and you can record a minute, and it replenishes at the end of every day, and then you can upload it or whatever.
How much?
It's just like this eyewear or something, and then you can, you know. Because I pay a lot.
Well, what's a lot?
That's fair.
Because
Let's say annually. You have to buy annually. So every year.
Okay. How much
spend
for
$1,000.
a year? I mean, there's how much it can be worth, and then there's how much I would actually pay for it. Because if I had money, I would pay a lot more than I would right now.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, some people would pay.
Because you could make, like, think about, you would get 365 skits. How much is a good skit worth?
Doesn't mean everything about skit all the time. Could just be
Well,
some of those moments that you're just like, wow.
You just want to record it.
You just want to be like, I wish I could remember this. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it was like having camera, just memories, like to have memories, 365 for each year, then I would say you could put, like, they're each worth $10, like around $4,000.
You'd spend $4,000, or you're saying that it's worth $4,000?
I feel like if this was a thing, my mom would buy for $4,000 instantly.
Right.
Christmas. Like, just the holidays, too. Like, you just have it on, like, when family's together.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, think about, like, I don't know if your mom is like this, but they have camera a lot of the time. Especially if you're on trips, you're doing things or holidays.
Yeah.
You make memories.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
And sometimes you want to capture the moment, but you don't want to ruin the moment, so you can't take out your phone, or maybe by the time you get your phone out, it's gone, and, you know, a million things.
Now you could put it on, what if you were a business, or, like, a comedian, and you wanted to put together a special or something, and you don't need 365 minutes for a special. You can make 4 specials out of the 360 minutes, and they make millions. They can make millions.
A third eye. We just start making this little recorder that's constantly going.
Or even that, like, when you said it, I imagine it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, if it's like a dream watching it, or, okay, I guess they They're not watching it in the living room.
Mm-mm.
Why? Who came up with that? Where did you hear it?
Me. I just
Okay.
thought of it. Dude, when you do manual labor for 10 hours a day, you think of some weird questions.
Yeah. Mind.
We would have these fun conversations of just dumb stuff. Just like, there are a lot of animal fighting ones. Just like, all right, guys, all of us with our pitchforks, how many wolves could we take on? You know, like, just, like, I just remember it was just fun, because, like, at one point it just became like, okay, like, all of us together, like, bare hands, how many chipmunks, like, how many, like, flamingos, like...
Yeah. Do that all the time in high school.
Yeah.
Especially if you're sitting there, you're not doing anything.
It's just fun to imagine and try to, build that scenario and think about it, create it.
Then you can get each other all riled up over it, too.
Oh, yeah. It's a common interest thing.
Yeah.
It's
like, no, fuck you, I'm right.
Oh, yeah.
I could beat more chipmunks than you can.
That's also a good point, because what's cool is it's such low stakes, but you can, in the moment, become so passionate to fight for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we had this ongoing thing forever with my high school friends of just what could win in a fight. So, a gorilla or a grizzly bear. Didn't matter at all. Who gives a shit? But it was so fun because, we had a divide. Half of us thought grizzly, half of us thought gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just this constant battle at the lunch table, just like, fuck you, do you know how much a gorilla could bench? Like, fuck you, do you know how big a grizzly bear is? Like, they got knives for fingers. Like,
grizzly would win.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I agree. I think if you give a silverback gorilla maybe their environment, if you can teach them how to box quick, that's when they're gonna win.
There's no real advantage gorilla has.
They're stronger.
You think so?
Oh yes, they can literally pull trees and stems, but they will uproot trees by the width of my hand, just pull them out of the ground. Okay. These guys are insane.
Well, the grizzlies
chimpanzees alone could rip your arms out.
Yes,
from your socket.
yeah.
A silverback gorilla can do that tenfold.
Yeah.
What does tenfold mean? Is that exponential then? Or is it just times 10?
Just times 10.
Okay, yeah, so tenfold, I'd say, probably. Something like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're incredibly strong.
Get their nails in there.
But grizzlies have knives. They're born predators.
Yeah. Get a few good bites.
But then again, silverback gorillas, although not predators, they do constantly fight for dominance. And so they definitely know how to fucking throw down. I guess the gorilla
could crush the bear.
That's why I think if it could box, if it could get a good blow in there, just clock him a couple times. If he knows to get on his back or something.
It's like a snake and a when they circle each other. It's at all levels. The dinosaur would do it. When they put the two bugs that never interact with each other in a cage, they circle each other.
That's what boxers
do.
You just circle around each other. You're waiting for an opening.
They wait to snipe.
Yeah. You're waiting for an opening for them to drop their guard for a second. Quick, give them a jab, feel them out.
In every dinosaur movie, that's what they do too.
They walk around each other.
They fight. Yeah.
I mean,
the T-Rex
that's just because
and the
that's cinematographic or whatever. That's not because that's how dinosaurs did.
Yeah.
We have no idea how they did
like boxing. Shit. It's cinematographic too. It's nice to watch.
Yeah.
But they do it for different
reasons. Makes sense in our head. Dinosaurs.
Yeah, I was thinking about that last night when we were watching the documentary.
You were thinking about dinosaurs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because they were going through this whole phase of the Earth evolving. And I think the end of the Jurassic period was the last major meteor. That wiped everything back to zero. And then all the soil had to regenerate again. And that's as far as it got. And I was thinking that if we weren't here, it would go enough where everything would grow to such a scale where dinosaurs would be back.
Wait, say that again? You think they would come back if we did such and
such?
Or
if you took humans out of the equation, you just had wildlife growing. Eventually it reaches a scale because the soil is building, you can build bigger trees, everything scales up more and more.
They would be to the point that we would classify them as dinosaurs. It's obviously not that exact species will come back.
Rather than buffalo grazing, you have these massive
Yeah. No, of
monsters
course.
going.
I mean, that's why they were bigger.
Yes.
That's why you can
yeah.
That's why the few things that were like going on, like sharks or crocodiles,
Mm-hmm.
they were around then, but they were 3 times as big.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you're exactly right, because everything just kept growing and just getting bigger and healthier and whatever, and so therefore the things on the earth that walked around also became bigger.
We've gotten smaller.
No, we've gotten bigger. Humans, at least.
There were other
Humans have
There
gotten
were
bigger.
other human species that we beat out that were bigger
That's
than
true.
us.
They were bigger than us.
Right.
Neanderthals were
Neanderthals
bigger.
were bigger.
And
but
bigger
it could
brain.
just be temporary.
Yeah, they
I
bigger.
thought it was the other way around.
That's
I
what
thought
people
that's
think.
Why we won.
Doesn't matter. They have bigger brains. We just can use ours better.
Okay.
Yeah, they were
Oh,
they
I
were stupid as shit.
Yeah.
But they had technically bigger brains.
Okay. Not enough mushrooms.
Nope. Not enough psychedelics. We can't go down that tangent. We already talked about psychedelics too much.
I like how. Yeah. I like that documentary.
Last night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
It took me a little bit to get over how produced it was. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like, what's happening right now? I did like it. It was, and this is exactly what they said, but it was cool to see, because I didn't know anything really about this stuff before watching it. It's cool to see how simple it is, too.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the whole point, and that's their point. They're like, this isn't a big deal, blah blah. But I thought they did it well.
Do you remember why they went on that? Maybe we shouldn't spoil. Yeah, I remember when they went on a tangent about organisms and bacteria and everything, and then they went into about the gut. Was that kind of just a side tangent to get into soil? How there's stuff living in soil.
I believe that's why they did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to explain.
They had a weird flow where they wanted to also talk about other things.
It was kind of a weird flow, yeah. There's a lot of time spent building it up, as opposed to just talking about the solution.
Yes. Well, they have to. They have to.
But it was very repetitive at one point. I was like, all right, are we gonna actually get to what is the solution? You got me hooked. All right, let's do it. How do we use the soil?
I'm glad they finally did that too.
And they did it well once we finally got there.
Someone with enough money finally cared.
Yeah.
And enough connections. So I'd seen very similar documentaries like in class about other things.
Yeah,
but it didn't have the connections. It wasn't as well produced. The lay person is not going to watch those.
Yeah.
This, a lot of people will watch.
Yeah. Tom Brady, baby.
Especially if you just or it's really his wife. When he was talking it, I'm like, he does not want to be here right now. He has to do this.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Because all he really said was about food.
He
like,
just
I gotta keep my belly.
He just had to smile.
Yeah.
That was his point. He just had to show that he supported the documentary and everything. Tom Brady? Tom Brady? Football throw?
Could you imagine how that emerges, like, in their relationship, him and his wife? Like, she starts bringing it up. She's like, yeah, I think I'm going to do this documentary. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, go for it, babe. Come on. You can do it. And then she goes, and she goes, yeah, I just hired all my actor friends. You did what? Wait a minute. Hold on. How much money? Wait a minute.
Like, oh, shit. Yeah, who else was famous in that?
Apparently, there were quite a bit of people. It was the narrator. I don't really know their names. I looked it up earlier. And then there was, like, the comedian at the end in the credits.
Yeah, I was like,
she was
what
very
the fuck?
like, she wasn't in it.
Yeah.
But she did some questioning. She's definitely just a friend.
Yeah.
But
connections.
Yeah, there were at least, like, 10 big-name people in it.
Yeah. I really love the part where they showed the transformation in China. That was awesome. Just like, yeah, this place is a desert. Poof.
Yeah. I never thought about that before, is why desertification started. because you can look at it everywhere in Egypt. This is what started Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and that could have been what killed them off. There's all the deserts in the Middle East, because that's where civilization started.
Yeah. I had always thought that's just how it always was.
Yeah,
But that's how you learned that it. No. But this is what makes me think there's no way that deserts is strictly human. Because even, I remember, and maybe we should look it up, but I remember when learning about these things, a big reason that these trade routes, how they function, is like, it's not like they were before the desert. The desert was already there.
it could have been before recorded history, if that makes sense.
Right. There could have been a wave before.
Especially because the Garden of Eden is supposed to be like around the Ganges and Euphrates, like in the Middle East. Like
Well,
that
yeah.
is
No, no, no. The
where,
Middle East I
yeah,
agree with, but I'm saying more the Sahara Desert
more,
in Africa. Because that's a large strip.
yeah,
Like, I
but
wouldn't
more
say...
than 15,000 years ago, like before this timeline, there were still humans and people,
Hmm.
and it could go back that far.
I just would be surprised that they would be able to... Maybe not. But for them to be able to make such an impact before that far... Because I could believe that humans are that long ago, but for them to make a impact on the Earth and
Mm.
have the technological means to, blow up their land until it becomes a desert.
Well, it didn't require much.
I
Yeah,
guess
well,
not.
really, if you look at mainstream history, that story wouldn't make sense. But I don't think that that's right. I think they had more than we say they did
Hmm.
before, longer than 15,000 years ago, before the Ice Age. What really blew my mind was the Dust Bowl and how fast it happened, because it was the Great Plains, and now it's just desert. Like there probably in the very like the Rockies, that was probably desert before us. Could have been, maybe. Especially they're so sharp.
Hmm.
That one blew my mind. I was thinking about because China, throughout all of the past 10,000 years or so, like they were always like one of the number one powers in the world. And like if you remember the Mongolian Empire, they were kind of centered on China's west coast, because Mongolia currently is like northwest of China, and that whole center is desert now, and that's where they started, and now it's barren.
Hmm.
I also think it used to happen over much longer periods of time. Happens very quickly.
Hmm.
Like think about we went to the corn maze.
Can I draw on this?
Yeah,
Okay, keep going.
we went to the corn maze, and that was just like sand. It was basically sand and rock,
Hmm.
and they may not have been there for very long. Like it didn't have to take that long to get that bad. It's like think about how long you'd kill upstate New York. Just like chopping down the trees,
Not much
growing
goes on
corn,
in Adirondacks, though, I have to say. They're pretty good about that.
farming wise. Yeah.
Like the Adirondacks.
Oh. Yeah.
Farming wise, yeah, yeah, yeah. But like the Adirondack, oh, I guess that's a dumb point because obviously all of them are held pretty well.
That was another thing I was thinking about last night. Were like the peaks. You have all those like rock slides, right?
Hmm.
Where there was stuff there, and then it all eroded away.
Yeah.
A lot of that is because of us climbing them.
Really?
When I went hiking at the bottom of Mount Dix, yeah, it
But there
was
must be
Dix.
other things hiking these
There
mountains.
are other no. At this point, it's really just us.
Well, I
Maybe
guess
before it.
before, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Before we killed off all the
But
shit
what
that
I'm
was
saying
there.
is us clearing it. It's not really the act of hiking, it's we clear it in order to hike it.
Right.
Like when you're at the
But that doesn't
top,
have to do with the rock slides, does it?
it holds water, it causes
Right.
erosion,
Right, right,
and then
right.
eventually everything just leaves.
That makes sense. Yeah, it makes a... Yeah, okay.
Because when you're at the bottom,
Makes like the barrel of a gun. It
yeah,
just comes down harder and
yeah.
faster, and it keeps hitting them in the same spot as opposed to an equal, space over time.
Yeah. Because the trails constantly change because you get washouts and stuff.
Yeah.
But when it's not at the top of the mountain, it's not as big of a deal because it'll regenerate faster, even though it could still take 50 to 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, up those mountains, when you have those slides, nothing's growing back there for probably millions of years. Like, those buffalo aren't ever coming back. The Great Plains are not coming. They could come back in a different way now.
Well, I think that's
Like, if you reverse desertification, like, you could do things.
I think that's what their point is. We're not, and they're arguing that you could say it's better now, because his point, I think of that farmer who's making $100 an acre. Like the land wasn't like that before, but now it's healthier. It's more diverse. It's speeding up the natural flow of evolution in this biome.
Yeah. I really like that they went full for it as like the climate change solution, like the real climate change solution, because they didn't give any numbers, which I found was weird, and I don't know any numbers. Like, how does the amount of carbon that we're losing with tilling, how does that compare with what we're doing with fossil fuels?
Yeah, they never really talked about that.
They didn't do any numbers. The only thing they did was that chart where throughout the year they would show red was CO2, blue was nothing.
Which I thought was odd too, because it was crazy how significant the change was, even though like they were only talking about that one thing, tilling, but like the factories are still pumping out the same shit. The cars are still moving the same shit.
Everything is constant. Yeah.
It's just I was surprised to see such a significant change for just one factor changing.
Oh. Well, it's more like you're releasing with the tilling, everything goes up, and then the crops are growing on top of you're not tilling anymore.
No, I get that.
And well, also, if you look at the scale,
I was just about to say they definitely fucked with the scale.
Yes.
Because you can make blue. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what they did. Because in my head, like when you intuitively think it, you're like, oh, if it's blue, then it's 0. But obviously not. It must have been probably, 420 to 410, and blue was 410.
It's so still going to be very significant if it's true with the bill that France passed with almost most of the countries in the world, where whatever it was, 0.4% of something, but it would compensate for all the fossil fuels we put in the air by sequestering carbon in the soil, by just changing our farming habits.
I also just like the way that they like it didn't even have to be like this sacrifice. It was just like, like you should do this. Yeah, it's great for CO2, and also like, you want to grow your own plants?
Yeah.
Do you want to have a more diverse ecosystem like that? Yeah. I feel like they had a lot of tangents. Like I remember that one hippie dude who I laughed at because he just looked ridiculous, but he was another celebrity, and he didn't have anything to say other than like, nature is cool. And I'm like, yeah, it is cool. Like, it doesn't have to be this big thing. He's like, this is how it should be. We should have tall grass and different plants growing on themselves. I'm like, yeah, that would be good. Like,
you remember the old guy sitting in like
he was
grass?
Like, he was a beast. He was like, who the fuck is this guy next to me?
I liked when they showed the no-till machinery. I thought that was interesting.
That was cool. I like how they introduced it. Because it was all like aggressive. Then it was just like,
I like how they had the farmer in there explaining like things.
He was a very proud man. He was cool. He was like, yeah, I'm the best fucking farmer out there. More people should be like me.
There are definitely a lot of things they missed, though.
Like,
I'm curious, why doesn't everyone already do it? Like, what are the counter arguments? Like, what's stopping
change?
What's the opposed? Well,
people are scared.
Yes,
the information isn't fully out there yet.
Yes,
they were essentially addressing it as if it was just an old school technique that needs to be outdated soon. It was outdated, but whatever. It just takes time.
Yeah,
because that's what his main point was. Because he's like, I talk to a lot of people, and sometimes I get people with crossed arms, no faces, and his response to that is like, well, I promise you, if you let me, I can use my techniques and improve your farm. Are you going to listen to me?
Yeah.
Probably not. This is the whole problem with people as a whole. Life is about the principle. We are not. This is why all economics is inherently skewed because we look at people and decisions as cost benefit analysis.
Yeah.
And that's not what people go. People are driven by their emotions and their principles and their identities and how they do things. And change is just super super difficult. So that's at least my explanation. I think this is what they said. So why people aren't doing it already, you know?
Yeah.
Because I can totally, Steve. Like I can envision that. Imagine you get this pitch, right? You're talking to all these different farmers, or you have like that thing where you're set up, you're presenting your thing, and then you got the farmers there. You just probably from their point of view seem like this hippy dippy, like whatever, grass eating liberal alternative farmer who's trying to tell me the right way to grow my corn. Like I've been growing my corn the way my granddad grew my corn.
Yeah. I guess more what I'm getting at is they're all going to have all this machinery to do not what they need to do, if that makes sense. Like, if they were to switch, they would have to replace it with the no-till
Yeah,
thing.
it also, not only do they have to be convinced, but they have to be convinced to, because there's
They have to
probably a
be
lot of fixed
convinced
costs.
so much that it's better.
Yeah.
Like, they have to know that they're going to
They're
make
like,
more money.
this is how much money it's going to cost to make all these switches, and like that is going to be how much they think it benefits at minimum.
That's what I was trying to look for before, is like the farmer that said about making $100 per acre. But it's very hard to find these things, especially when it's in a documentary like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you come up with this number?
I mean, obviously the guy must be doing better, right? He said 4 years in a row that guy harvested 20% of one harvest. So yeah, there's a lot of fixed costs, and maybe he's not making money yet, but he's on a more profitable road.
What confused me was he got wiped out by hail like 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And then there was no mention of hail anymore after he switched to permaculture.
True.
There's definitely still hail. He definitely still lost crops. I
started losing 30%.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of...
Because it's also hard because with that climate thing, where if it's desertified and the climate has changed and there's droughts and you're getting bad weather, everything is going to have to change at once, and it's going to cost a lot of money to fix it before then you can make money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So that was fun.
It was a good documentary. I also, my criticism with it is they did address composting, but they didn't really fully address too much what you can do as an individual.
Oh yeah.
It was very focused on farmer.
Well,
which is probably fine. It's
fine. They showed the California one, and I'm doing like a school project where we're doing food waste, but it's going to be in Broome County, and we kept talking about how they do it in California and Europe.
Mm-hmm.
But I never saw what it looked like. Never saw what it was, and I was just amazed at how much infrastructure went into it.
Mm-hmm.
It was this very, and then they put it through the digesters, and so quickly it was soil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was cool. All about the principle.
Compost.
First thing you can ask, well, why don't we do that here? Gotta get people to believe in what you think.
Yeah. That too.
How do you get people to give a shit?
It's also taxes. I'm thinking about it as oh, this is another reason why California tax is so high. Because they definitely have to pay for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
One way or another.
Such a funny predicament we find ourselves in.
Taxes. Fixing climate change.
Paper. Or the rock we live on.
Yeah.
Paper beats rock.
Paper beats rock.
Don't forget
Paper
it.
beats rock. Paper blades. They also did the whole grazing thing with the you rotate the animals on different plots of grassland.
That was good.
I'd seen that. That's been around for a while.
Yeah, I didn't think that was very revolutionary,
No,
but
but it's not common, even though grass-fed beef has been growing
I
for a
thought it was
while.
nice how open it all was. That was cute.
What do you mean?
I feel like normally I picture more closed-in things, but it was cute how the fence was like. It just looked like it was all one big field.
Oh yeah, it's very arbitrary. Like they just remove the rope,
Yeah,
get in there.
it works.
Yeah.
So did that directly have to do with what they're saying the soil thing? Like they're just saying by rotating the
Yes.
animals will just help out the soil.
It's similar to what happened in the Great Plains with the buffalo, where the buffalo would destroy the land, shit, move,
Right, right.
eat, destroy it, shit, move,
Yeah.
and like, and she was going in about these clumps of poop, and that's where everything grew out of.
Yeah, what I found interesting about too of that is like it just comes down to like, do we trust other things or other people? Because you can break this all up and say the sheep need to graze here now, they need to do this now, they need to do this here, or you can just recognize the sheep are going to know where to move because the grass is going to be tallest over there.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to know when to eat because they're going to want to eat the stuff that coincidentally is also when we want them to eat it. Like
Yes.
and so it's like I feel like a lot of this farming when you're looking at a bunch of these other tactics when they're just fucking like crowding these dens and then you throw the grain at their faces and
Mm-hmm.
like it's just like I mean it's exactly what they're talking about, but there's no flow with it. There's no like trust, which is a weird thing to say for like a farm animal, but it's just like here's your food. We shall milk you here, kill you here,
Yeah.
eat
Yeah.
you here.
Well, those factory farms, it's like these little things that have to grow. There's no love that goes into it.
No love.
It's like, yeah, they got some good photos of like big factory farms too, like those massive.
Yeah, that
It's
was
just
crazy.
brown the ground,
Yep.
and there's animals everywhere.
Yep. Let's start a school system and make that a required field trip. Imagine that.
Yeah, they won't let you on though. They don't let you go there
Why not? We'll pay
because
them
they
some
don't want
money.
people to see it.
What?
This is the whole thing with
Come on, we can
like
pay.
the meat packing. Similar thing.
All right, then overnight, or what we'll do is we'll break into and get some good old photos. I mean, I guess there's plenty of photos. We'll
They're
repost
also
a bunch of already
they're also
existing
not
photos.
around here. They're like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if that was in New York,
Yeah.
like what they showed. Also doesn't make sense because they're destroying that land to just house the animals, and then they're destroying other land to do the grains and the soy.
That was their whole point because 70% of crops produced in the U.S. is like corn,
Soy.
soy, hay, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then 99% of those livestock consumable food is given to the livestock.
Yeah.
And so it's also extremely counterintuitive, because you're growing these things to give to the things that you're trying to grow, and like it's just this expensive, shitty process.
It must have made sense for some reason though. Like there must have been like you could use less land to do it, or it's less work or
Well, that's
something.
their point in the sense that it was good in the beginning, because like pesticides work really well in the beginning, but then after 10 years, your shit's dead. And you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So they're probably having a grand old time with their animals.
Yeah.
Let's bring in more animals.
The pesticides were a temporary boost.
And then they're like, oh, the animals are eating too much. That's fine. We'll just give them a little bit of our corn. Throw the corn in there, even all that shit out.
Yeah, went on this spiral in the wrong direction.
I assume also it's not this flowing thing in the sense that I'd assume it's more by demand. So it's this farm of, okay, well, I signed this contract. I gotta get this much meat ready for them by this time. I don't give a fuck what I have to do. I am getting that shipment will be filled,
Yeah.
And so then you have less freedom because you have to do this thing.
I'm most surprised at how useless traditional farmland is. Like,
Mhm.
you don't make much money from a traditional
Yeah, that was
farm,
pretty crazy.
acre of land. But then you look at, like, if you have like a market garden, right? Oh my God. If you have a market garden, you grow like herbs and like berries,
Mm-hmm.
small expensive stuff, you can make a shit ton of money on half an acre.
Yeah. Honestly, I was a little convinced. I was just like, all right, well, let's start this fucking farm with these new techniques.
Mm-hmm.
Can make some cash.
I just have to find what the fuck they were talking about in the documentary.
Seems like you just buy that no till thingy. I'll drive that
Yeah, but you
around.
got you gotta
Ah, that's it.
put some numbers together first.
Oh, there's tons of stuff you have to do, but I'm sure there will be more and more resources available for it. And that seemed like a good thing.
I really like the idea that you can just buy shitty land. You just need to sit on it.
Oh yeah, that was another good. Yeah, yeah. I feel like that would be a cool.
The issue
That's a cool life. We should do that.
the
Just
issue
kind of
is you kind
separate
of have to go
for.
to the middle of nowhere for it.
We gotta separate it out for like 5 years ish. Do our shit, and then come and start a farm.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun.
5,000 acres
Sure.
in in
By then,
Iowa.
Austin will already have his own farm, so we'll
Mm.
just help grow it. We'll tag along.
Farmland is expensive when you're near cities. You know, there's some good ones.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I think that'd be cool. I would like that. You're just outside, hands on. It's a lot of problem solving, but like not too difficult. I feel like we're not going deep in the world of shit
Yeah.
that I want to avoid in life.
Yeah. They had what they showed was a more straightforward where you just grow grass at the bottom
Mm-hmm.
and then plant like corn on top.
Mm-hmm.
But they're much different permaculture setups.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's this whatever. There are tons
No,
of
no,
things you can
no.
get into.
What I'm saying is they spoke about like the idea of making Earth the Garden of Eden again,
Mhm.
and that's what they didn't show that in the documentary what that looks like, but there are other permaculture examples where you go to and it's like the Garden of Eden.
Mhm.
Like there's little fruits and apple trees and stuff all over the place. There's different trees everywhere and there's bushes
Mhm.
that sent me down a rabbit hole.
Of
Just thinking.
hit me today that I've been in the land of confusion for probably the last couple of weeks. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that I walked in this realm. Rather than thinking it's reality and truth, I just kind of remembered. I'm like, oh yeah, this is just the confusion world. You can be in the happy world, you can be in the sad world, or you can be in the confusion world. A bunch of others too.
You're just talking about your overall mindset.
I suppose so. I don't know how to say this too well, but like I don't think there's anything more true. There's no more truth in constantly thinking and questioning what is reality and finding these revelating things. I don't think that's more true than just living happily doodah whatever. I just think they're different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
They're different realities.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you want to play in?
Yeah.
Do you want to be in the sad world, the hell, like I will say a lot, the happy one, like
Okay.
a big thing that I was thinking a lot with this, because I was thinking a lot about this happy and blah blah, and so my friend was very much in this happy world, and it was very cool because I was like, wow, I love this, like I want to play in here.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of moments where I saw above it, and I was like, okay, like whatever, like I knew what was happening, and I was like, yeah, I'm being dumb or silly or whatever, but like I wasn't gonna fight it because I liked being in the world, like it was a good time. And then when there was that shift because of what happened, later on, once I started talking to my other friend and whatnot, like then we get into that confusion world, the scared world, the anxious world, like the
Okay.
egoic world of just like, okay, I need to plan this out because they're thinking this and I'm thinking that, and that seems more true. That is the illusion of seeming more true because you're overanalyzing and building up and up and up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're just different worlds.
So when you say that you felt like you're in the confusion world for the past few weeks, you would also call that like an egoic world,
Yeah, I'm
where
talking very
you're
binarily, I
thinking
suppose. Yeah, just thinking constantly. And
thinking about things rather
yes,
than yeah.
connecting dots that don't need to be connected. And if you do connect enough, you think you're super smart and you're, at a higher level of reality, but really you're just in a different world.
What happens when you gain like confidence, like egoic confidence, rather than confusion from it?
Hmm.
Like there's confusion where you're like questioning things, like did that
Well,
really
I
happen?
think
Did
I
they
think you
mean
can be
that?
confident in the confusion world because you're confident that you have built your nice little reality, but you're still trying to
Okay,
connect
this
dots.
is what I meant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean more when you're not really connecting dots and like, yes, I know how it is. I'm going to do this.
This is kind of, I don't mean to ignore what you're saying, but this is something that I think will make it clearer is like, because I was thinking a lot about this over the summer because there are some of my friends that just quite simply doesn't do the game that you and I and many other people will do. He just doesn't. He doesn't care for it. He's a really, really smart guy.
What like conversation, like
Just how he thinks. He just doesn't question much. He's a
okay.
really smart guy. He's an engineer. In a lot of ways, he's a lot smarter than me. Um, but he's just like, yeah, and he's tripped a lot, had a good time, more
Mm-hmm.
experience, not thoughts, just colors and look at this, look at that.
He
Like,
just accepts it. Would that be right?
yeah. I mean, I guess what we're getting to is just that full-hearted conversation like we had a while ago.
Mm. Mm.
That seems like what we're moving towards.
Mm.
I didn't think of it as so binarily until we started talking, but I guess it is pretty binary. Because you would call the little hell, I guess, is another word for the ego world,
Well, think about
right?
when you change worlds, like when you wake up in a way. It was all like a dream, and then it's very binary. It's like, oh, I was doing that for a few weeks. Maybe you still are, maybe you're not, but you can look at it binarily like that.
Mm-hmm. Which I try not to because I feel like by thinking of things binarily, we're inherently just wrong. Because everything's a spectrum. And so to say it's binary, it just seems like you're just being dumb. But it does seem like in so many different ways, we fall back in this binary code. Because we could also look at this exact same thing and what I was talking about a long time ago, which I've stopped, or I stopped a while ago, but for a while I was trying to make those mind maps and addressing suffering and happiness,
Mm-hmm. Make sense of it.
pleasure, happiness, avoiding, accepting pain. Because that could be the deciding factor of what world you're hanging out in.
Yeah. Recently, I've just said, okay, let me just try to build a world to live in. Like, you have all these ideas and opinions and ways you frame things. Just frame it in a way where it's going to make me happy, content, fulfilled, if that makes sense. Like,
But that'll never work because you're just gonna keep waking up, right? Like if it is this conscious building, you're just gonna wake up after a
but
week or so and be like, oh shit.
I would say that's true if you're lying to yourself
Mm,
when you're building. Rather, you come to accept certain truths
yeah.
wholeheartedly rather than try to figure out if they're true. And a lot of it is just trusting what other people say.
Hmm. Which you could then go back, because the first thing I was saying about when I was tripping or whatever, like I knew the things that we were doing were really silly,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, why do we care about whatever, playing a sport or whatever? Why are we caring of what all these dumb
Mm-hmm.
little things that don't matter? All these dumb little, but like I wasn't gonna fight them because they were
Yeah.
so fun,
Yeah.
and it's so like, well, what else would I talk about?
Yeah.
You know. So I guess that could be a kind of example of what you're saying. Just like you can build this little world as long as you know you're building it, and then just live in it for a bit.
Yes. Yes. It's like when we're at the corn maze afterwards, and we're at the separate field, and we're just going through the rows of hay, and then we're throwing corn at each other.
That was
There's
nice.
yeah, there's parts of me where it'll be like stop, 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 but that's been built up. It's not
That's why I like.
true
That's why I like hanging out with guy.
because he likes doing stuff like that.
He lives in Nirvana. He has no idea how special he is. Right? He's like my friend Willie. Super smart guy. Doesn't question a lot.
Oh,
That's just his nature, and I love it. I
oh.
love just because it's such a simple Just like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm watching a show. Nice.
Yeah,
What is
I
it?
can't.
It's comedy. Nice. I like to laugh. Let's snuggle.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why he's always my favorite drinking buddy. We have a lot of fun drinking together because we're just silly. That's why I like drinking, because you just get silly. It's a silly
It's not
way to
always
live.
that easy sometimes.
Well, that's your guys' problem.
Yeah.
You gotta drop that anxiety. You gotta stop being so afraid to let go. It's fun being silly. As long as it's actually silliness. Some people are dicks. I've been dicks many a time. I've really been trying to make sure, because I think there's at least for me, there's two drunks. There's the truly silly, just fun, and I think I can still flirt and be that silly, fun self.
Mm-hmm.
But then at other times, kind of that more common connotation with drinking of just that Machu Picchu, you know.
Macho, you mean?
Macho, yeah.
Macho.
Don't like that
Yeah.
very much.
I think I'm silly, and then people tell me I'm macho, and I'm like, well, fuck you. You just ruined me. You ruined my mood.
Uh-oh. Yeah. You do seem like your guard is up a lot, I've noticed.
Drinking or in general?
I just noticed a lot at the TEDx fire. Your guard
Oh.
seemed to be up. I don't know if I was just noticing that night in particular. I'm not gonna try to draw a trend, but I just noticed that night. I was like, huh. It just seemed like you were kind of I don't know. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. Just guard was up.
I don't know. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
It
It
was
totally
most
can
of
make
it.
sense because you're like, who are these people? We're talking about things you don't know and, whatever.
Well, it was more, I was just listening.
Hmm.
And there was also, like, every time I would start talking, they're drunk
Yeah.
and just going rapid fire, where I'm
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
Yeah, yeah.
That, and I notice how slow I talk, and they're, like, going on and on.
Yeah. I think it's a lot with expression as well, though. So, I think there is a way to express yourself. And the way you were
Oh,
expressing
yeah,
made me seem like you were
yes,
defensive.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I will always instantly take my shoes off, sit cross-legged,
Yeah.
and just get this very open. You can say whatever the fuck you want. It's okay,
I don't like talking about myself in those contexts either.
Mhm.
Especially, yeah, because one of the first things was like, what's your major? And I said computer engineering. And then you said, he goes to real school or something like that.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
And then,
I
no,
didn't
I
mean
don't
that.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
why?
well, I know that's not what you meant. I just
Yeah.
don't like that.
Yeah. No, I get it. He also reacted, which, I don't know, I just made a joke out of it because he said something. I was just like, we're here.
Yeah.
But I can hindsight now see why you didn't like it. But I remember being surprised. I'm like, oh, you did not like that.
Yeah, I know you're
Good to know.
surprised.
Yeah. It's like, all right.
Well, because it could so easily be like someone shitting on you. It's like, oh, he thinks he's so great.
Yeah.
And
It can also make a divide,
yeah,
which you don't want to be divided.
that's most of it.
But
Yeah.
I will say, the reason I said something is because he made a comment, and my philosophy in a lot of stuff is that when you address it, it nullifies.
Mm.
That's why I say a
I
lot
don't,
of.
yeah, I don't even remember what he said.
That's why I say a lot of things I do, because if you don't say them, then the moment passes, and then the thing is on
Stuck
you.
there. Yeah,
But if
yeah.
you address it, like I've already explained this, but I'll just explain it better, because like if you let it pass and don't address it, then you were that moment. If you address it before it passes, then the moment isn't directly attached to you anymore. You know, that
Yes.
awkward experience,
Yes.
whatever. That's why I love, like, whenever I fuck up or say an unfunny joke, I'm like, well, that joke sucked.
Well, yeah.
Because then
It's usually
instantly
the
you
ending that's most important. Like, if it
before we move
ends
on.
without addressing it, then they remember, you remember,
Mm-hmm.
rather than if you make it to where you can laugh at the end. It's much different.
Mm-hmm. It's always a way to recover.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not always. There's got to be a way to always recover.
Yeah.
99% of things.
Yeah.
Some things you can't.
Even recover, you're just saying something random.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because that's happened before where I still won't know if the person is making a joke or if they're serious or if they're shitting on me with making similar comments to like, oh, we're here and he goes to school or he thinks he's here.
Right.
And it's like, no, how else am I going to just tell you the truth?
Well, that's your
Or just-
same issue when I used to say whatever it was. Joe's
Yeah.
Joe's playing God.
Yeah.
I never took it that way, but you know, that's how you were afraid it would come off.
Yeah. Well, because I feel like people perceive me that way.
Right, right.
And it's like, well,
So that
how
goes
do
back
I...
to my point. You gotta express yourself more openly. Because you're sitting down there, you're a little dark, which I get. You know, that's how you want to sit.
What?
It just that my point was it's about
You talking
the
about the
expression.
fire? How I was sitting?
Yeah, yeah. It's about that's my point where it's more than just your words; it's the expression.
Yeah, I usually don't sit that like. Well, I have been sitting like that with my feet up. Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause that's always how Austin sits. And when I see it, I'm like, oh, he's doing that. But that's not what I was thinking in the moment. I also didn't really want to talk when I was out there.
Yeah.
I was just there to sit.
Yeah, yeah. Just there to sit, listen a little. Didn't really care. I guess just saying it. I guess in general, maybe then, just something to consider. Sure, you already do, but
What, expressing myself? Yeah.
just the openness. That's actually something I've gotten a lot from people. Just like compliments. Just like they feel very open with me, and it's
Oh,
something I really
you mean
like.
give compliments and...
Oh, not compliment. Sorry, I'm not making sense. I'm just saying, in social scenarios, when you're feeling weird, or maybe whatever, I think a really good rhythm to do, or a really good thing to do, is to just, in whatever way you feel comfortable, try and express an openness. Because I know you, and I know you're open to hear anything, because you think it's all a joke and everything's fine, everything's good. Like, there's nothing that'll truly actually bother you, which is a great quality to have. At least not most things. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But like, okay, what?
No, keep going.
Oh.
Keep going.
But my point is, maybe some people won't know that, and they will be afraid to say things or this or that. And so I think if you can just try to, just this openness of just however you feel comfortable building it. I think
I
it's
see
an
what you're
important
saying now.
thing. I think it's an important thing to build for anybody. I think it's an important thing to build in social scenarios, because it is how you can allow that first step in conversation.
So are you saying
Approachability.
letting everyone know that they can say anything and it won't matter?
I guess so. Just that because people are afraid of getting judged. That's what so that's the bottom line I hear from a lot of people, because they're afraid of getting judged. I'm afraid of getting judged sometimes. I'm afraid that I'm going to say something dumb, and they'll think it's dumb, and then they'll think I'm dumb, whatever it is. And so maybe not care or whatever, but just an openness in that, like, you can approach me, you can say something, and I'll say something back, and hey, if it comes off weird, it's okay. Like, it's all okay. Relax.
I never thought about it that way. Where it's less about making saying what makes you comfortable and more about saying what makes the other person comfortable. You know? Because when you say, like, act more open, I don't know what that means. Like, what does that mean I say? What does that mean I do? But it's once I
It's
start thinking about it, it's already flawed because it can't be something I think about. It just has to be,
it can be
yeah,
something you think about, at least in the beginning, until you kind of get
like
the
a
idea.
conversation starter or starter. But after that, it'll just be messy.
I don't think it necessarily matters what you say. And I'm going to go back to the
It's how you
body.
say
It's
it.
the body language,
Yeah,
not anything what you say. It is just your charisma, your energy that you're emitting.
and that's what I've started to try to take notice more. Like before, like when I face this way, it's different than if I were face this way.
Yes.
Or like feet up on the cinder blocks versus on the ground. Or yeah, like this.
Two very different ways to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, something really interesting. This is kind of a side note. Do you know about the Sanford prison experiment?
No, describe it.
So, the long story short, a psychologist built the scenario where he flipped a coin. Some students were prisoners, some students were guards. Experiment started going off, and by like something like, I forget, it was supposed to go for 2 weeks. I think it was like a week they had
They
to cut
stopped it very quickly.
Yeah, they had to stop it very quick. Something really interesting, and this is a very side note, whatever, but something I remember my teacher pointed out when we were watching it. So they had interviews with the prisoners and the guards years later. And so then at one point they show the interview of like the whatever the pretty much the main guard and the main prisoner. They kind of like fought the most, whatever. And in that snippet of interview, you can very obviously see the guard sits like this, and the prisoner sits like this. You know, like just eat that the power dynamic still existed in that moment. You know, so
Wow.
kind of a side note, but it was really cool. I was like, wow, that's insane. You know.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I feel like I watched the like that post interview video, or I've seen like a clip of it. Yeah.
I wouldn't have noticed. The teacher paused it
Did
and
he-
said,
he
and he was
pointed
like,
out?
"What do you guys see?" You know, I was in high school, and I was like, "Well, I don't know."
Oh, you watched that in high school.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, just body positioning, and yeah, body language. I mean, this is a big thing with uh, uh, uh. Like, have you seen those stuff with whatever? No need to approach a girl. The girl will approach you if you do these things. You know, I think they're really true, and it's
Well,
how
it is
things
true, yeah.
and how it's how things like 50 Shades of Grey can exist. You know, it's not just porn. It's this way. It's because I guess a way to describe it would be that everyone's a world builder. You know, everyone's a creator. So this is very psychotic or whatever. But, you know, the lady's building her world, who's looking around, building personas. You can do things so that she'll build the wrong persona, baby. and then
Yeah.
she'll be so interested that she'll approach you.
Yeah.
That's essentially what they're saying, you know.
I like seeing people that are overconfident or position their bodies knowing that they're freaking out inside, but they're putting on a show.
God, I used to love pointing that out with people. Or even just little things when they're like talking and then all of a sudden you see them just, you know, or just like, you know, like, just.
It makes me laugh.
You
Like
trigger
it
things.
instantly puts a smile on my face
Yeah.
when I see when you can see an actor and know they're an actor.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You see the whole. It puts it's more
comfort.
relaxing, comforting. Yeah.
Like, oh, this kid's bullshitting? Alright.
Yeah.
I'm good. We're fine. Low stakes here.
Yeah.
I can fuck with this guy a little bit. And you can fuck with them.
Oh, not
because
even,
they can't break character.
Yeah,
so you can fuck with them pretty well.
That is true. That's true. That's not really how I think about it. Usually when I'm in those situations, I'm not saying anything anyway. Like I'm just
You're
sitting
just
there.
watching.
Yeah.
Just an observer.
And it's like, you see the little things? Like, okay. Sometimes it does get me to actually relax, and I'm like, okay. I can just sit here.
I love watching.
Say something, move my body around a little bit. Because most of the time, you're right, I will sit like this, or whatever. And notice I don't leave this box, right? cause
Mm-hmm.
and it's just
Your
habit.
box.
Yeah. What?
You just got your little box.
Yeah.
Stay in your box, which is scary for other
I
people.
can grow the box.
If you're scared, then they're scared. You know, you're in your little box. They're like, why is he in his little box? If they instead see you just kind of open, this is a bit much, but just like,
Yeah.
or what was I gonna say? Oh, I think interest is also a really big thing because I think everybody wants to feel interesting, and so I think it's really opening when people say something to just yes man them, or mirror them, or what's it called?
Yeah, it's called mirroring.
When you say the last few words that they said as a
That's
question.
mirroring.
Okay, yeah.
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 Because, it shows them you're paying attention, and
You're interested.
you're also making conversation.
Which, like, as ingenuine as us all sounds, like, it is also genuine. Like, I do like to hear about other people's existence. I enjoy that a lot, actually. Like, in a drinking scenario, I'm like, all right, I'm never going to meet you again. Very interested. Like, who are you? Give me 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Who are you? Like, this is fun.
So I like when I find things like that I do before I know it's a thing. Like with the mirroring thing, I'm like, oh, that's just the only way I know how to make conversation is just mirror the last thing someone said and let them keep going.
That's what you do, you're saying?
I do that a lot of times, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, if I don't have anything to say and there enters a pause, it's like, okay, I can get them to talk more about what they're talking. But I'll only do it if I don't want to listen to them, I'm not going to do it. It's only if I want to listen to them.
Yeah. And then, but sometimes I double psych myself out because then I think that, and then I think, well, if I just thought that, then they probably think that. So then if I don't mirror them, then they'll know I don't care. So then I mirror them one more time to like I just I double think or whatever, and so then I get, because sometimes I'm so uninterested in a conversation, but I get stuck in it because then I ask another question.
Oh, stuck. Yeah,
because I'm afraid that they're gonna know that I'm not interested.
Yeah, that does happen where I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But they're gonna ask me questions if I don't ask them questions. That makes sense.
Yeah. Or they'll just walk away.
Yeah.
Or they'll say, okay, bye. Okay.
Yeah, it depends on where you are.
Yeah.
If you're at a party, they're not going to stay. They're not going to stay.
Okay, bye. See you later.
Talk to you next week.
Yeah. I love those little things. Just picking up on those little social things and being like, oh.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's why I learned about it.
There it is. I like it. It's cool too, like figuring out who's into who. I always find that to be a fun little game.
Well, when you're...
There's a lot of little indicators. One of which is like, for example, if someone says a joke, who laughs? If Johnny Luhu says a joke over here and then across the flip cup table, Cindy Luhu laughs.
Yeah.
And nobody else heard it.
Well, laughing is a really obvious one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's too easy sometimes. But it can also be a trick, because some people do it no matter
for
what.
Jealousy. Oh.
No. They just do it.
Jealousy. Yeah, that's also fair. They just do it because they're like, yeah.
Whether they're self-conscious, they're anxious, like, okay, I'll just laugh. They made a joke.
Yeah. Or they're just aware. They just hear everything that's going on because they're listening to everyone.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
What are you going to say about jealousy?
I don't even know if I believe it anymore, but that's what I thought you were first going to say. Just like, maybe just a little jealousy, like, ha ha ha. Looks over to the person they actually like.
Oh. That's definitely true. There's
probably some people.
You can read
there
into it.
Yeah. That's a sign. I remember.
You can watch eyes.
Watch eyes. It's essentially who's gonna notice the little insignificant things and deem them significant. Like how significant are you putting everyone's actions?
Okay.
Because someone you find interesting, someone that
you
you
have
like,
to find a
they will
control.
have a higher interest rate or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll find them to be more. Their words will have more weight, and so you'll notice them more.
Once you see how they interact with their friends and like some average people, and then you see how they interact with who they like, then it becomes obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But you need like that control,
Mm-hmm.
or vice versa. You see
That
how they react
control
with this
group.
person, and then you see them react with everyone else.
Mm-hmm. That's how you know. That's how you can pick out the flirts because they put a high weight on everybody, and they go around and around. I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good indicator.
Well, it could
But
also be how they then act with the same sex. Or, I mean, if they're
mm,
gay or whatever, it doesn't matter.
they're just indifferent.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Ooh.
maybe if it's high with all if it's a girl and it's high with all the men
Mm-hmm.
and low with all the girls, then you can see.
Well, I
Or
guess
if it's different.
the only difference then is if the person's attractive or not. At least from the other person's view, right?
If it's yeah. But I feel a true flirt is it's very insignificant between like attractive and not attractive.
Uh-huh.
Unless they just don't talk to the non attractive people.
No, you're right, yeah. Because there's an obvious difference from a flirt and then just a equal interest among
Yeah.
everybody. Like you can
Yeah.
tell what
That's why I
a
said
flirt
the
is a
same
difference in
sex
the
then.
way you say it. It's difference in how you present it. Okay, yeah. Correct.
Because they're very bright. They're
Yeah.
usually obviously putting on a show.
Right.
And
But I would say you can still have that brightness and showness just from being just an
normal.
outgoing
Yeah,
person.
yeah. That doesn't make them a flirt though.
Right.
It's
That's why I'm trying to specify
Yeah.
like what that little difference is.
Yeah. You have the angel that goes around and is somehow loves everyone. And then you have just everyone else, I guess.
So hard
Everyone's a
not to
different mix.
so hard not to name drop right now.
Oh.
So many people I could just from my own brain say and then make it easier.
I will say later.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Because when do you think you could even start noticing these things?
Pretty quick.
No, like how old? Like
Oh, age. Well, I was a late bloomer for social interactions. Um, like most things in my life, it's either they make zero sense or they make a lot of sense for me. That's why I couldn't read till third grade. Most concepts I learn, it doesn't make sense
Didn't hit
until
you,
it
yeah.
clicks, and
Yeah.
then I get it a lot better than most people. That's just how my brain is. So I think that's why I was a late bloomer for social interactions, because for a while I was like, what the fuck is happening? Honestly, probably not till junior year of high school when I finally started figuring it out. Senior year is when I really became like, okay, I'm proficient in this. But honestly, when I felt like it was all training, and then college came, and that's when I started performing.
Okay.
Because regardless of the skills I was developing, I was still inherently not seen as a social person because people had known me for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my friends at home are just more social. So, like, overall, when I came here, all of a sudden the bar dropped a lot, know. And then with performance also came, obviously, development in the skill,
Yeah.
But yeah, probably not till, like, senior year of high school, freshman year of college.
Okay.
Until I started really.
There's that
awareness. Wait a
awareness.
minute. Hold on. Sorry. You're saying an awareness, not a performance. Because I've been aware, like I was the fly in the wall for my whole life that I can remember. But being able to do both is a very new skill. Being able to be one of the speakers while also still watching, that's when I would say it'd be senior year of high school, freshman year of
What
college.
I'm more talking of is the watching, right?
Yeah.
And that awareness, but where it hits you. It's not like small little noticing things. It's like it instantly hits you what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably then sophomore, junior year of high school would be my guess. I definitely was seeing things before I was doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It hits you. Bam.
I feel like in high school, like there are little things I would notice, and like you say them out loud, and no one else notices them, but none of it really meant anything. And a lot of it was also just like a show. It was like, you guys didn't see this? Or, yeah.
Well, that's what was so interesting when I first came to college because I felt like I never really had someone to bounce things off with before I met Noam. Because a lot of my high school friends, they'd get it a little bit, or like, I don't know, it just was a different relationship.
Yeah.
So I'd notice things and I'd be like, oh, wait a minute. And like,
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe my friends did notice, but maybe we just didn't say it, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a different relationship than when I first met Noam. Because all of a sudden I was talking to this guy and he was like, yeah, I see crazy shit too, all the time. And I'm like, I know, everyone's fucking insane. He's like, I know. I'm like, well, now I'm validated. Like, perfect. Yeah. I'm not insane.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't think I came to realize that until probably freshman into sophomore college.
Yeah.
Probably more late sophomore, junior.
I've noticed for a while.
Because in high school, the concept of a person didn't hit me until sophomore year of college.
What do you mean by that?
Like, they're just as conscious as I am.
Yeah, that's a
and
really
fully
fucking
coming
weird
to
one.
terms with that.
I mean, are you full terms with
No,
that?
no.
Yeah,
but
I'm not.
being able to momentarily think about it on a level, never even
Oh, that's why you
considered
said
it.
hits.
Yeah.
No, that's a good way to put it now that I get it. It is weird when things hit you for the first time. I remember when it would hit me a lot, like death. That was one of the first things that would like hit me full force growing up. Just that we're going to die.
Yeah.
I would just get hit by this just darkness, just straight black. And then I'd be like, that will be me one day. And it would be like gut-wrenching feeling just out of nowhere. Just like, oh my God. Like, I'm going to die.
No one hasn't hit me in a long time.
Yeah. I'm not saying I've conquered it. I'm just saying it hasn't hit me in a while.
Yeah, it's just gone. Concept of a person.
I was thinking about that a little bit today, actually, because when I was in the hospital for my toe, or I don't know if you call it a hospital, but whatever, just for the toe appointment.
Yeah.
And there's this really old guy just coughing up a storm and just not looking good. And I'm like, wow, one day I'll be like that, or I'll be dead before. Just watching him, like, just fucking weird. I will eventually be that age, if not dead already.
How can you make something hit you like that? Let's say right now, we finished talking, and you can't really do it when you're in a conversation. So I would say you're by yourself. How are you going to make it hit you again? How are you going to make death hit you?
Get really quiet. Get rid of all distractions. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't let anything let you forget. Just think about it. Don't force the thoughts. But you just think about different things that connect. You don't get abstract. Get very close to home.
So you need to meditate on it.
I guess, yeah, that would be. I mean, that's meditation,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
This is just me guessing too. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
Because it's a very, you know what Stoicism is. You've heard of it.
How about what?
It's a philosophy.
What?
Stoicism.
I don't know what that is.
Oh.
I definitely recognize the name, but I forget.
I can't describe it right now. But one of the things is like thinking about death or accepting it.
Yeah. It's a good thing to do.
Meditating on death. Yeah, I haven't thought about that in a while. Last time it hit me was probably 2 years ago. Yeah. Since then, it hasn't really hit me. Maybe. Actually, can I say that?
Okay, so that reminds me, I have an interesting point to bring up. So, last night, 2 nights ago, whatever it was, remember when I was talking about we're all sinners, good loves the bad loves the good, but regardless of what side of the coin you're on, you're still playing the game.
Yes.
An example that I thought of would be these two schmucks. So, I guess I'll just name drop, and then we'll fix it later. I don't know.
No, just use an alias.
Okay, hold on.
You could just do 1 and 2.
It's up to you. One's funny, one's not.
Oh, okay.
Should we do it?
Take
Or
your
do you
pick.
wanna-
Do whatever you want.
Okay.
Smelly belly.
I mean, it doesn't matter because they're going to hear the scenario and remember probably also.
Sure.
But I guess it's for the sake of everyone else.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't give a fuck.
They're Smelly and Belly. How the
Alright.
fuck can you care?
Alright, Smelly and Belly. Our friends Smelly and Belly.
Smelly and Belly were sitting in a tree. K-I-S-S-I-N-G.
So they had to pick between 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Smelly wanted to watch the movie that they're watching right now.
Okay.
Belly didn't want to watch that movie because Belly had already seen that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Belly made that very clear. Didn't want to watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. But Smelly didn't care because Smelly wanted to watch the movie that Smelly wanted to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could say, from obvious words, or you could conclude that Smelly's being, whatever, the meanie, right? For not caring about Belly's preferences and
Yes.
not considering if Belly is going to, enjoy the movie because he's already seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also then go a little deeper because then you could question why Belly isn't pushing harder. If Belly really cares, why didn't he push harder to watch the other movie?
Mm-hmm.
Is Belly just saying that just once so that it's established that Belly wants to do something else, but then lets it slide so that he can then be in the role
He
as...
revealed a slight preference.
He revealed a slight preference
Mm-hmm.
so that then he can then be like, okay, I took one for the team because I'm high rolling.
Oh. That's what you're going to say.
That's what
Okay.
I meant when I was talking about the whole good bad. That is an example I would
Okay.
say. And so I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget.
Even their bad can still be good. But does anyone even notice? Does it even matter?
I guess my point is that to look at it as bad and good is just inherently wrong because the good is allowing the bad and the bad is allowing the good. You know?
Okay.
Because Belly is showing a slight preference, but, he's doing the good thing by letting Smelly watch the movie he prefers.
Mm-hmm.
Smelly is watching the movie he prefers, and not caring about the thing that Belly wants, and then Belly could push harder, and then I'm kind of repeating myself, wearing in circles, but points made. Like.
So are you saying that they're a sinner because of how they frame it in their head?
Saying they're both sinners because they're both playing this game of taking points or losing points or whatever.
And you can frame it however you want to just always win points.
Yes. And so...
So what makes them the sinner?
So Smelly has been a sinner because Smelly didn't care about Belly's preference. Belly is a sinner because Belly established a preference just for the sake of then making Smelly choose the one he didn't prefer so that he would take the high road.
Mm.
But then on the surface, you could say one is being a dick and one's not. That is what I've started noticing more and more in people in just day-to-day conversations. I'm like, wow, you're saying this, and I'm saying this.
But Smelly didn't think about it.
Probably not. Because Smelly was on level 1. Therefore, Belly went to level 2. Smelly said, I don't care. I'm doing the thing I prefer. That's my sin. I don't give a shit. I'm doing my thing. And then Belly takes his assessment quick, and he's like, well, I probably can't change his mood, so I'm not going to fight for it harder, but I'm going to get a level 2
So
then
they're different
and win.
sins. They're different sins. Okay.
Different levels.
Okay, I see. So it's bigger than that.
So that everyone...
I thought you were saying that they're both doing the same thing, but they're not doing the same thing.
No, they're doing different things.
Okay, but they're both sinning.
Because one's doing a good thing, one's doing a bad thing.
Okay.
So that's not... But, yeah. They're doing different things.
Yeah. But they have to frame it. It's their thoughts that count.
It's the intention, the intent,
Yeah, yeah.
not the result, the intent, the idea behind it.
Yeah.
We're all constantly sinning, good or bad.
Yeah. Oh, you think everyone is constantly sinning now? Hmm.
Or I don't know if life can be that epic because that would be insane. But you could say that we are all sinners. I think no, yeah, that's a better way to.
We're all
Because if
sinning.
you're gonna
Okay.
look at the Bible, he doesn't say we're. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think this statement is that we are always sinning. It's that we are sinners, and therefore we sin when the scenario arises to
Yeah.
sin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, to assume everything was a sin that'd be a bit much.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I feel like you can also watch if you're just looking at someone in conversation, and then sometimes it'll be if they break, that's a sign of a sin, if that makes sense.
Break in what way?
Break eye contact or look away or yeah, most
You
of the
think
time.
it's sin? I just think it's a focus because I have a tough time looking at someone's eyes.
Yes.
Because then I forget what we're talking about because I'm just looking at you.
Yes.
So I don't think it's sin.
But with this close, you're looking at eyes. If I were to go further,
Well, now we can look at each
if I
other.
were to go further, now I'm just looking at you. This
Yeah.
is different. At this stage, it's like, oh, you remember when I borrowed your peanut butter the other day?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Or it's not like that, but
I mean,
there's-
that's why there's that whole thing about liars look down or whatever it is, you know?
yes. Usually it's with lying. Yeah.
Mm.
Because I think about it, it's like, especially this close, break eye contact a lot and just go back and forth. And then further away, I will notice I'm putting something together if I break eye contact from that far away. Or they ask some weird question where I have to think about it.
Well, I noticed in our talk a while ago when we were sitting next to each other, it was very intense to look at each other.
Mm-hmm.
But then once we were downstairs,
It
we
was
were like
meaningless.
15 away.
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
stare at you the whole time. It didn't matter.
Yes. Yes. No, that's why it lost the potency.
Yeah.
The whole conversation.
Right.
Because then that was like an after party.
Yeah, that was just a hangout. Oh, yeah, eyes are tough. Eyes are really hard. I ranted about eyes recently in a thing I wrote.
Mm.
Eyes are tough to look at.
Yeah, I don't think I ever really looked someone in the eye until sophomore year of college.
Yeah, probably not.
I realized that.
Yeah, it's really intense. Yeah. I had a really cool experience with my friend Willie. I think I told you about that, where we just looked at each other right in the eyes, and it was pure love. It was beautiful. There was no fear. It was nice. Just looking at beauty.
I can't even put together one scenario where I'm like, yeah, I looked this person in the eyes. Like throughout high school, before that. I think it goes along with like the concept of a person. Like
Yeah.
if you're truly looking at someone in the eyes,
Mm-hmm.
you're acknowledging that they're another person rather than
Mm.
some type of interaction or you're doing things.
I know about acknowledging. It's just, or I guess acknowledge, but forceful acknowledgement. It's like, oh yeah, Joe's here. Shit, gotta go.
How so? Wait a minute.
Oh
What do
no,
you-
I'm just saying in general. Like when you look in the eyes, just like, oh right. I mean,
Oh,
I'm agreeing.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of a sudden, yeah, somebody else
Yeah.
was here.
You wake
Like,
them up.
oh,
you,
right,
You realize
this
you're like,
person's
wait
here.
a minute.
What have we been talking about? Is he thinking this? Is he thinking that? Am I thinking this? Is everything okay? I'm just gonna go back to looking down.
It like goes from reading a script to we're doing something.
Yeah. Wow.
That's what the ego is like sometimes. It's like a little script. Or a personality
Yeah.
or whoever you are. You're kind of reading this script that's going on in the back of your head.
Yeah.
rather than like participating. What?
So funny now. Oh.
What?
Just your eyes, man. I can't look away. Now it's
No.
intense.
Now I'm looking at your eyes rather than just looking at you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is why like 5 days ago or whatever when we were having that talk, because when I said you haven't spoken in 20 minutes, I looked directly at your eyes
Yeah.
and caught you. I grabbed you.
That
You had nowhere to go.
Like,
You could not go anywhere.
the script just cut.
Yep.
Because what I was saying, I couldn't say anything.
No, I had you pinned to the ground.
Took a fucking katana and swiped my script apart.
Yeah. I think that's important to do.
Yeah. No, it was definitely a good thing. I needed that. But then I also couldn't remember what I was talking about 20 minutes ago.
Well, it didn't matter. The point is that 20 minutes, the idea is that 20 minutes ago you were actually talking. Because because then you start going down this rabbit hole of like, well, I think that this is why this is how this is, and therefore this is what that is. Like, stop.
So I was. What I meant
dots.
was what was I talking about 20 minutes ago? What was the difference?
The difference is you were feeling
Describing
what,
what I was feeling rather than what I think.
Doesn't matter what you say.
Okay.
It's an understanding compared to a knowledge, you know?
Okay.
I think this is what you guys get confused so much, like you and Austin, because you guys said, you guys were talking about before, like, why are you, like, getting, whatever, like, what's happening? Like, when I make the noises or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I get very emotionally connected a lot when we talk. Like, I try really hard not to run from it. And so it becomes an understanding, and it becomes... Yeah. And I literally get so built up that I just start making these noises because I just start getting like so engaged in it and involved, and like
does confuse me a lot.
I know, because you two are the same way in that you guys don't do that. It's really weird. You guys just stick in your knowledge bubbles and very rarely kind of feel in those scenarios. At least that's my impression. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but
I can't comprehend truly feeling what someone else is feeling.
And also keep in mind, this is something I've wanted to say for a while. I'm not a weirdo. Like, it's really, because I talk to, like, Sam, for example, and she's always like, what do you mean they don't? I'm like, this is just how they are. Like, I am not...
We're the weirdos. We're the weirdos.
I would say it's 50-50, honestly. Like,
really?
I think so. I think our group as a whole, I think guys as a whole are the more...
Guys is... Yeah, that's
and
true.
Then, they stick to that, so then they can hide and build their good old logics and all that. And then girls are more true with themselves and feeling it, which is why they have more intense fights.
Good cat fight is very intense.
Not physically necessarily, but yeah. I mean, I guess cat fight. Yeah, cat fight can be verbal. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't like, because I also think you can't really understand what someone is saying. You can never really know what they're saying.
I don't know.
Unless it's like 1 + 1 = 2.
I, of course, logically agree. But there are times that, at least from my experience, I've become that person for a little bit. It feels that way. I don't know how else to describe it. But there have been a lot of times in people that I've had long conversations. Like, I can remember this one time in particular, talking to Noam for a really long time freshman year, and we're just talking, and like, I don't know, he was really just telling me a lot about his past, and I'm really listening and taking it all in. And then he walked away, I think to go to the bathroom or something, and I just started sobbing because the only way I can describe it, and I told him that after, like, I just felt like I was just him for a moment. All his problems that he's going through, like, they all just kind of like...
Were you sober?
Yeah, I was sober. Yeah. And it was just resonating in me, like...
It's only been when I'm not sober. And I feel like that would further my point as I'm just reframing what they're telling me. Like, I understand what you're saying. Like, there's no reason you can't have that intensity of what they're telling you. I would say... I
guess the question is, because you build it around... You get emotion... You are gonna get so you get emotional from something,
Mm-hmm.
and then you build a story on why it happened.
Yes.
That's kind of things go.
Yeah.
Why can't you get an emotional response from somebody else talking, and then you build the words? Like, why can you only get words from what people say? Why can't you get an emotional response and then build the words?
Okay. I think you're kind of proving my point though.
Okay.
Where they have their emotion.
Yeah.
It's translated into words, and you lose a lot in
But
that
that's my
translation.
point. No words, just the feeling. Can you not feel like the anger that they
Okay.
feel?
Yes, but I can't. There's
You're eventually
Yeah.
gonna make your words that are not exactly their words.
Yes, I know what you're talking about, but 99.9% of the time, I can't translate that into anything.
Well, that's why I get
Like,
these feelings.
Yeah, well, yes.
That's why I was like, I don't know what's happening.
There's
Because you guys
just
asked me. Like, I have no idea. I cannot explain this. But
Okay.
I'm just feeling something.
Okay. So that's what it is.
I
Yeah,
have no words.
I get that, and
and this is probably what you're saying as well. And I think it's also what they admit. So I've noticed that I can get really emotional for people when later on I reflect back on it and I realize they're just building their world, and I just fell into their world.
you fell into their story. Yeah.
They just made a great story, and I truly listened, and I fell in their story, and for a moment, the story was real for me, more real for me than it was for them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't mind. I think it's okay. I think it's interesting because I think that's how you can build perspective. Because at the end of the day, that is their reality.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I think that's part of who you are.
Yeah.
Like
it's a part of that.
That's why you can do so many things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Is because that's how you are. You just have some side effects.
Oh, you're talking about me specifically? What are you saying?
Yeah. Like you'll fall into people's stories, but the same part of you that makes that happen also allows you to do other things. That's why you're such a good writer. That's why you could you're like conversationalist, do other things.
There are definitely some good and bads of it. Curse and a blessing.
Yeah. So that you just mean, yeah. You could say you're their energy, like whatever they're emitting, they're emotional. Okay. Okay, that's different then.
Yeah,
That's
and
not.
I don't believe, because when you said energy, it just got me thinking. I don't think energy is just, I'm just going to spitball, whatever. Oh, okay, I'm going to say a point and then completely counter my point. So,
Okay.
so I don't think energy is something external other than from what you are emitting, or what you're trying to mentally emit into the other person. And so, like,
Okay.
because you hear energy as if it's this external thing that people can emit and then you can take in.
Okay.
But then, like, I don't know, I just feel like if that were to be true, I just have had too many experiences and heard too many things from people who are just truly sad, truly angry, and then someone right next to them just doesn't feel it at all. You know what I mean? So, like, when I talk about these things, I don't think it's something.
You have to tune into it, I feel like.
But you still think it's there regard. Like, I guess I would be saying that the only reason it's there is because you're making it. Not because it's not like a radio wave that's always going. It's just you have to find the frequency.
Yes.
It's just you are the frequency, and it's whether you can.
I don't know. I don't know. But either one seems valid.
Yeah, I guess so.
It could be either one. Because
I want to get to the counterpoint before I forget it.
Oh, that wasn't the counterpoint. Okay,
no, that was just me spitballing. As I always talk. But so something really crazy that happened. I feel like I've told you this, maybe not. So I was painting with my two friends that I paint with over the summer, and so we're painting a house. Having an alright day and blah blah and like whatever, painting. I think at this point I was just by myself listening to music, just whatever, blank thoughts, just going about motions. Then I start getting this like pain, this like just feeling like just, I don't know, it was just very intense, and I was like, what's coming over me? And I start like crying some tears, just like silently, just this rush is coming over me, and I start crying a little bit. I'm like, what is going on? Like, And then I stop for a second. I'm like, okay, what is this? And the pain, and I don't know how to describe this any better, but the pain was love. I just felt this, this intense love. I just felt just this intense love energy, whatever you want to call it, just like hitting me. Like I just felt as if it was so powerful that it hurt. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
like it was just insane. I was like, wow. Like I just felt so like consumed by it, and I started crying some more. Like it was a good pain. Like it just felt very bright, but so intense that like it hurt. Like whatever. And so that went on for a few minutes, and finally it faded. I'm like, wow, that was really intense. Don't know what to think of that. Whatever. A couple
Mm-hmm.
more minutes go by. I'm like, oh shit, I should see what time it is. I check the time, or backtrack a couple minutes. It happened at 5:30. I'm like, okay,
Okay.
interesting. End of the day goes by. I'm thinking. I start thinking about Sam. I'm like, no. I think it was like the next day, and then finally I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, and I text Sam. I was like, hey. She's like, what's up? I was like, were you meditating yesterday?
Mm. Uh-oh.
She was like, oh yeah, I had a crazy day yesterday. I was like, tell me about it. Shit happened with her dad. Really sad. Bad shit happened.
Mm-hmm.
So to reach her little nirvana, she just said fuck all and just left everything and started meditating.
Mm-hmm.
And I had not described anything yet. She literally told me, she was like, yeah, I was just in this bad mood and was just mad, like I had to be this way, and so I just wanted to admit just love. I just wanted to admit happiness and love, and I just wanted to just send it out. And I just meditated there and just was trying to just emit something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa. I was like, did you send any to me? And she was like, I don't know. I sent to a lot of people. I'm like, but you send any to me? She's like, yeah. And like, whatever. Like a little bit, like to a lot of people, whatever. I was like, okay, what time? She said 5:30.
There you
Isn't
go.
that fucking weird?
I've thought about that before. I don't have any stories, but I've thought
That
about
I
that.
just started laughing. I was like, this is insane. Like I had to tell her, and we were both just like, what? Like, how do you explain that? So that's my counterpoint.
We need to
Maybe it
run a
is real.
double-blind experiment. We get a bunch of our woo-woo friends, and we say, you're going to do love meditation on the rest of us
Mm-hmm.
all the time. You're going to keep alive of
Yeah,
exactly
but
what
that's
time.
already flawed because we're expecting it and all that
Yeah.
shit. But that was insane. That was truly like we just both were like, I have no way to explain this. The only way to explain it is for someone like you or anybody listening as an outsider is to devalidate what we said. Find some hole,
Tell
you
me
know?
why I'm a fucking moron.
Yep. Find some hole, be like, well, it was probably actually like 5:40 and church was 5:20. And are you sure pain is really love and
Did
blah blah
you account
blah.
for the speed
Yeah.
of light?
Right. So, yeah, because that's the only way. The only way I think to figure that one out is just you have to discredit my story.
Mm-hmm.
Because how the fuck do you explain that? You can't.
It's like with dreams. Like, whether they be myths or things, is like if you have a dream about someone, they're thinking about you,
Mm-hmm.
or other things where, yeah, mostly at night, besides what you described, where there's things that actually happen. Oh, there was this, I watched TikTok. It was, um, I can't remember the right names. EST? I think that's what it is. I forget what it stands for though. But like spooky action at a distance, but with people where they can meditate on certain things and either see the actual place or be able to describe it.
Oh,
Stuff like that.
yeah.
Where they did actual experiments and it was under the government and other things in
Mm-hmm.
big universities and yep, it's proven, but they don't know how it works.
Yeah?
They just know some people can do it.
You just gotta listen. That's cool.
Yeah, I gotta find that. It's not too far in my history.
Cool. Yeah, send it to me. I'll watch it.
It was like one of these videos is like deleted TED Talk removed from the internet. Like one of those like
Yeah,
dark
yeah.
web kind of things. It's like, oh, you're getting the good stuff.
You will not believe this. Yeah.
I like when those things actually deliver.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
that's nice.
It wasn't too crazy. It was just more, it was like, yeah, we found these really weird things. Oh,
Damn.
what?
Is this 2 hours?
Yikes.
Zoinks, said Scoob.
Yeah, you can end that.